Greetings everyone, I'm Kevin and I have hauled 28 books, so let's go through them. So because I love doing things by alphabetical order, I have all the books that I hauled in alphabetical order. So a while ago, I did an unhaul video where I unhauled a book, and for each book I unhauled, I took a book buying prompt. And for each book buying prompt, I picked a book. And I'm going to go through the books that I hauled. Some of them I got as a prompt from my unhaul video. Some of them I just wanted to get, so I got them. Kind of like that. I have this kind of rule when it comes to buying books. I am only allowed to buy books, one, when I finish my TBR. So TBR 3 years in a row. 3 months in a row, I get to take a punishment prompt from my little jar. And I have hauled, I think, 5 books in total that way. But my other rule is that I get to buy books if my bottom shelf on my free shelved bookshelf, right here, my TBR shelves, I get to buy books because it's completely emptied, and I do like having more options, both when I play my TBR game, but also just, you know, in general, when I read, I like picking books from here. And so I like having a variety of books to choose from. So without further ado, let's start. So first in the alphabetical order is the numbers. So 2001, A Space Odyssey. This is the third classic sci-fi that I have. I also have 1984 as well as Brave New World. I haven't read either of those two, but I have this now and I'm looking forward to reading it as well. And then I got myself a trilogy, a manga trilogy. I read the 2 first books and then the third book just came out, so I got it as well. I read the first 2 books. I'm gonna show you the books, of course. So the book series is 86. It's a dystopian world, future, and completely other world. So the main character is called Lena, or I pronounce it as Lena because it's L-E-N-I, but I know that some people pronounce it as Lena, but that's weird to me because the name L-E-N-A is Lena. But we pronounce it Lena, so I pronounce it as Lena in English. But her name is Lena. She's kind of like upper class in this world. And she works in a very specific kind of job. She's the leader of a specific faction, and she just moved up a step in like the ladder, society ladder. And now she's taking care of the 86. And what they are is kind of like the outcasts. They aren't considered to be humans. They are considered to be, you know, like animals. And the only thing that they're good at is being on the front lines of battles. Because there are wars going on, and Lena, has to kind of work through her own prejudices against the faction, the 86. Because she also, like, she grew up thinking of them as, you know, animals, basically, not humans. But she gets to know them, gets closer to them, and the cliffhanger that the second book ended on, can't wait to read this. So this is the third book. I think these are gorgeous, just cover-wise. And they each have, like, a specific color. But this one, absolutely looking forward to it. Then I got a duology that I really loved. I absolutely love this. If you like time travel stories, sapphic time travel stories, if you're a fan of Timeless, which I love Timeless, the show, this is amazing. Alice Payne duology. So the first book is Alice Payne Arrives, and the second book is Alice Payne Writes. These are very short, but they are amazing, and I can't wait to read these. I listen to them as audiobooks on Scribd. They're very short, but having them as physical copies, I can't wait to just read them with my eyes instead. The next book is Ayram. I started reading this in March. I think I started reading it in March. Maybe it's maybe it was May. It was probably May, but sometime around that time I started reading this, and I read it as an ebook, and I really enjoyed this. But I felt like reading it, I would enjoy this a lot more if I had it in my hands and not reading it on my e-reader. There are some books that you feel like that with, that you just don't vibe with the book in the format that you're reading it as. So I told myself, okay, I'm gonna get this as a physical copy. I felt when I read it as an ebook, 100 pages in, I was like, I love this book, but I can't read it as an ebook. So I got it, and I can't wait to dive back into it. Then we have a chunker, and it's from Luca with Love. It's a sports romance, including or like involving pair figure skating, and I'm looking forward to it. I love this kind of like winter sports in general. I don't know that much about figure skating. I have like 3 main sports, and all 3 of them are winter sports, even though one of them somehow is in Summer Olympics, which it shouldn't be in Summer Olympics. That's like playing soccer, having a soccer tournament in winter, which there will be this year. And that feels strange for a lot of people, and that's how it feels having handball at Summer Olympics when it's a winter sport, not involving snow or ice or any cold element, which is why it's in summer. But anyways, really excited about this. I really loved The Will of Winnipeg and Me, also by Mariana Zapata. Really enjoyed that book, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what she can do with a winter sport. The next book I bought because I got the book buying prompt Caribbean. I got the prompt Caribbean, and I found this book, Here Comes the Sun, and it's a Jamaican book. It's set in, what is it called, Kingston? I think it's set in Kingston. It doesn't say, but it's set in Jamaica. The first line on the back says, capturing the distinct rhythms of Jamaican life. Nicole Dennis Ben pens a poignant hymn to a world hidden among pristine beaches and the wide expanse of turquoise seas. That's the first line on the back. But it sounds, and it's also like referred to as lyrical and vibrant. Here Comes the Sun offers a dramatic glimpse into a passionate world most outsiders see simply as paradise. I think it sounds really cool. I love reading these kinds of books where it's set in a place and it's actually written by someone from that place. I love that. I love learning more about culture and traveling through books. And what better way to do that than through people who actually are from there, if that makes sense. Then we end up with another book that I have read, and it's Himlabrand by Moa Backe Åstott. And this was actually a really, really fun book to read. It will be coming out in English. I don't know a date yet or anything like that, but it's coming out in English, so that's great. And I'm really happy that it's coming out in English because this is a book by a Sami author featuring or like following a Sami boy in Sápmi. And there are not a lot of books about that or like that in English. A lot of those books don't get translated from Swedish or from Norwegian. So I'm really happy that this is getting an English translation. This follows a guy called Ante, and he, as I said, he lives in Sápmi, very, very far north in Sweden, and he is a Sami. He's very kind of like proud of his heritage, but he also has to learn a lot about what it's like, what it means to be Sami. And throughout the book, I really loved his kind of journey with that, finding out about the relationship between Sweden and the Samis, and also with the heteronormative part of Sami, of Sápmi. So Sápmi is Sami land. But this has a lot to do with identity, looking at what it's like to be Sami and being a Sami boy who likes another Sami boy. What does that mean? How does that go together? And learning about history and the Sami identity and just a lot of things. Like this, in my opinion, is more a coming of age story than anything else. but I do really recommend it. And I really love this cover. This is a kind of typical Swedish hardback because it's not, you know, the kind of hardback that has a jacket. It's a hardback, but you can't take, and if like I hope that makes sense. I don't know how to explain it. The next book I have is one that I am excited and terrified of reading, and it's Internment by Samira Ahmed or Ahmed, I guess, in English. So weird. But it's this book, and it has to do with a near future where Muslim Americans or Middle Eastern Americans are put in internment camps because of Islamophobia. And like that makes me mad just thinking about it. And so I think reading this book is gonna make me furious, but I also find it really important to read these kinds of books. And I do really love social commentary books and kind of dystopian, showing a negative future that could happen if we don't stop whatever is happening right now, because it could potentially lead to this reality which we do not want it to happen. So I am excited and terrified of reading this book. The next book is one that I've heard nothing but great things about, and I've been really excited to read it ever since I heard about it, and that book is The Martian by Andy Weir. The thing with this is I have wanted to read this book for a while. I've wanted to own this book for a while. I've been wanting to read it for a very long time, and I've wanted to own it for a very long time. The reason that I hauled it just now is because the only cover that I found was the one with what's his name's face. What is his name? Matt. Isn't his name Matt? I can't no, I can't remember his name right now. That's the movie's cover. On the book cover, and I don't like that. I wanted this cover, and there was one, but it was very expensive, but I found this and I got it. So I'm happy to finally own it. It's a science fiction and it has to do with Mars. Maybe it's a thriller as well. It's a sci-fi thriller. That's exciting. Yeah. So the next book I have is going to be very interesting because I got this. I am currently learning Thai, which I've talked about. And this book is translated from Thai. It's called My Right I Love You by, where is the author's name? Patrick Rangsimant. So it's this, and I think this cover is really gorgeous. And it involves a doctor and a motorcycle taxi driver, and it's their romance. It's a BL, so boys love story. And what I really like about this, I'm gonna show you. It has kind of like these footnotes explaining things that has to do with Thai culture and pronunciation and what certain words mean, and I'm really happy about that. But I think this is going to be really a lot of fun, and something that I also look forward to this is that it does have a show. So this book became a TV show, and if I really like this, I could watch the show as well. But I wanted to read the book, so here I have the book. I think it looks gorgeous and it sounds great. It is a little weird because it does have a completely different kind of format, or not format, but layout. And I don't know if it's because of how it was formatted after it was translated, or if it kind of reflects the original, but it's kind of like formatted this way, which I am not used to. But yeah, so this is the next book. Then the next book I have is a manga. It's the sequel, and the book is My Summer of You Volume 2. I got the first volume by Charlotte, so thank you so much, Charlotte. So here I have the second book, and I'm really excited to find out what happens next. So this book kind of follows these two guys who are very close friends, and they bond over everything that has to do with movies. They both love movies. And in the first book, they had this kind of trip where they went to certain locations that were somehow connected to movies that they loved. And by doing that, they fell in love. So it was a very cute romance between these two. So I'm looking forward to reading the second book. The next book is a series, and it's a box set. So I am going to open this box set. I haven't done that yet. I wanted to do that here while filming it. I just need to get this plastic off. So there we go. And we are revealing the books. So there we go. Oh my god, I love this texture. Okay, so we have, the first book is All Systems Red. This is the first book. This is the only book in this series that I have actually read. But I felt like with it being so short, I did really want to read it physically. I listened to it as an audiobook, but I felt like I wanted to read it physically. It's very short, it's not even 200 pages. So this is the first book. And then we have Artificial Condition, Rogue Protocol, and the last book is Exit Strategy. These are the first 4 books in the series. There are, I think, 6 books in total, but I got the first 4. And I really like them. I love sci-fi books. And I'm really happy that I have them physically. And I should also say they follow a murder bot, hence the series name being Murder Bot. And I also, on this box, it says on the back, as a heartless killing machine, I was a complete failure, which I find funny. So we're following a murder bot who is supposed to murder humans, but grows a conscience kind of, and decides he does not want to be a murder bot. I really like the first book. I think, as I said, I'm going to like it even more reading it physically. Then we have a book that I got. I have wanted to have this book for years and years and years because I love the movie. It's one of my favorite movies. So the book is Napoli Ever After. The movie is one of my absolute favorite movies. If I'm having a bad day, I can just put that on and feel instantly better because I love that movie so much. And this is the book behind the movie. And I've been hesitant reading it. When I found out that there was a book behind the movie, I was instantly excited. I felt like I need to read this book ASAP. I need it, you know, I need it. But then I felt like, what if I read it and I hate the book? And then that will destroy my view of the movie, because that can happen. Then I decided, no, I'm gonna get the book and I'm gonna read it. And hopefully I love it. But this is the book. It follows this woman called Venus. And she is the perfect woman. She works in commercial and she's just like, she's created this life for herself that is absolutely amazing. And ever since she was a little girl, her mom kind of got into her head that she had to be perfect. She had to fix her hair and have her hair be absolutely perfect and straight and, you know, that kind of way. And she had a doctor boyfriend of several years. Venus felt like this is it, you know. She created this life that was perfect and she made herself perfect so that she could get like this doctor to ask her to marry him, and they would get married and they would have kids and everything would be perfect. And then for her 30th birthday or something like that, he gives her a dog instead of a ring. He tells her that she's perfect all the time, and he said that he felt like he was on a first date every day. And she felt really bad and they broke up, and she had kind of like a mental breakdown and she shaved her head. And that kind of was an identity crisis for her, because since she was a kid, she had to be perfect and her hair was kind of part of that. And now she didn't have perfect hair anymore, and she couldn't make her hair perfect. She was bald. And then she had to kind of fall in love with herself and find out who she is. And I really love this movie. And so I really hope I will love the book. The next book is it's a tiny book. It's called Om det var krig i Norden. And this is, imagine it was war in the Nordics. It was originally written by a Danish girl, a Danish woman called Janne Teller. And it's kind of made to look like a passport, and it really feels like a passport, like it really does. It even has like numbers down here to make it look like it's a passport. And what this is about is kind of, what if there was a war in Sweden? And I think, if I remember correctly, there's a war between Sweden and Denmark, and we have to flee. And where we're fleeing is, I think, the Middle East. and it's kind of to show the refugee story. And it's a very short book, but I've heard that it's a very, you know, a book that even though it's really short, it will be with you forever, kind of. And as a teacher, I really looking forward to reading it. But also, it's the kind of book that I really love reading. I do really think that I will enjoy this book, and if I can, I would use it in education as well, but it's just a book that I am really looking forward to reading. The next book I have is called The Red Palace. I don't know that much about this. I think, if I remember correctly, it has to do with, you know, assassination and royalty, which I think sounds really cool. And also, look at this cover, it's gorgeous. The next book is one that I almost maybe screamed when I found out it existed. And it's Reflection. What if Milan traveled to the underworld? I have never read a Twisted Tale book from Disney, but I am super excited. It's Milan. There is another, if I really like this one, I think I would also pick up Go the Distance, which is a Hercules book, because I love Hercules. I also love Tarzan. Like, when it comes to Disney movies, like the ones that came out in the 90s are the best Disney movies. So I think Milan is my number one. And then I also love Tarzan and Hercules. And I also love Aladdin. Is there one with Aladdin? But anyways, Milan, Underworld, yes. Can't wait to read it. The next book is Simply the Quest. First of all, I love the titles of this. The first book is called Who Let the Gods Out, which I think is like simply the best. Who let the dogs out? Who. So it's, I love that it does that. Every single book in the series has some kind of pun connected to a famous or popular music title. Which I love that. And this is a middle grade. It involves Greek mythology. It has one of my favorite characters ever in Virgo. She is so sassy and so cool. And after finishing that book, I was just like, I need the second book. So here it is. Then I have another book that I will unwrap, and it's Sleeping Giants. I have heard great things about this. I remember when this came out, and I was very intrigued because, if I remember correctly, this is written as an interview, or multiple interviews, which sounds really cool. So it's kind of like this throughout. File number and then interviews, figuring something out, and on the back it says, we always look forward, we never look back. But this thing, it's different. It challenges us. It rewrites history. It dares us to question what we know about ourselves, about everything. First of all, it's gorgeous. I remember when this came out and there was kind of like this hype around it and it sounded really intriguing. But back then I was like, nah, interviews, I don't know. But then I kind of been wanting to read it anyways. And now I feel like, I think I would maybe love it. And after reading multiple multimedia books, I really do like that, you know, that format, interviews. So I do think I will like this, and it's really intriguing. It looks absolutely stunning, so yes. This book freaked me out. This absolutely freaked me out when I got it. It's To Sleep in a Sea of Stars. First of all, it's gigantic, like it's bigger than my head, but it's this. I got a signed copy. And it freaked me out because buying this, it didn't have like signed copy. I didn't pay that much for this book, but I was the chosen one and got a signed copy. And when I saw that, I just felt like, nah, that can't mean that it was actually written in this book. It must have been, you know, like an autograph sticker or something, but it's actually in the book. And then I thought, okay, that looks real, but it can't be real, can it? It has to be printed on paper. But there is bleed through. Can you see that it's bleed through? I am absolutely 100%. Oh my god. about this. When I found out about that, I just, like, if you think I'm freaked out right now, you should have seen me when I saw this. I was freaked out. Usually when it comes to stickers on covers, I peel them off, but this time it's staying. The next book is one that I feel, oh my god, about again. And this is V for Vendetta. It's huge. It's the 30th anniversary copy. I love V for Vendetta. This is another book behind a movie that I love. The movie V for Vendetta is one of my absolute favorite movies. I adore that movie. And I am now going to open this and see the insides for the first time. And the plastic is coming off. Oh my god. First of all, oh wow. Wow. It is so huge. Oh my god. This is kind of, this was a comic book. I guess like graphic novel is what we call them now. But that's what this is, V for Vendetta. I love V for Vendetta, as I said, so I love the movie. I wanted to read the book. And since it's a comic book, I wanted to have it. And then I saw that it had this gigantic 30th edition hardback. I wanted to have it. The next book I have is another sci-fi. I just realized when it comes to my two favorite genres, romance and sci-fi, have I mentioned a romance book so far? I feel like 90% of the books I have talked about have been sci-fi, which makes sense. The book is We're Not From Here. This is humans kind of fleeing, end up on a planet because we can't be on Earth anymore. And there are already aliens there, and they are very, you know, kind of racist against humans. And okay, on the back it says, on planet Shroom, we are the aliens. Ever since we blew up, left Earth, life has been pretty rough. The Mars station was only temporary, which is why we ended up on planet Shroom with the Zuri. They look like giant mosquitoes and are super smart, but they're not big fans of singing, just ask my sister Ila. Jokes, I cracked one and landed in the principal's office. Emotions of any kind, really. And oh yeah, us. What's it going to take to convince the Zuri that humankind should survive? My family. How are we going to do it? No clue. Sounds like a lot of fun. Sounds like something that I will really enjoy. And now we're down to the last two books, which are part of a series. I don't know how many books there are in the series in total. I think there was 5? I don't know. But I got the first 2. And it's The Wormworld Saga, The Reise Begins. So it's a German story by Daniel Lieske, and I wanted to have this. I wanted to have a German book, and this is a graphic novel, and it sounds really cool. So this guy called Jonas, and he goes to his grandmother's place, and there's this image or picture or something, and it's of this world, the Wormworld world. And he walks through the painting and ends up in this world. And The Reise Begins is the journey begins. Then I have the second book, which is Der Hoffnung. It looks like this. And the art looks stunning. And I can't wait to read this. Okay, so those were all of the books that I hauled. Let's see the transformation of my bookshelf. So they looked before and how they look now. Okay, so there we have it, my bookshelves. Those were the 28 books that I hauled. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't. And hopefully I will see you next time. Good reading. Bye.